a short time ago. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Great again. Great again.
Hey guys, good morning and welcome to the American Tribune Live with Todd Peterson. I am Todd Peterson and I am laughing today because the WNBA players, in all of their infinite wisdom that they've garnered from the AOC School of Economics, they thought they needed to go on strike because don't you know that they play basketball just like men and they apparently need to be paid just like men. We've got a lot of analogies to the United States women's national team that actually succeeded in this insane mission. I've got some clips from Megan Rapinoe going back in time a little bit to hear about how, well, she kicks a soccer ball and men kick a soccer ball, and that's all that matters apparently in their deluded feminist world. This is what leftism does. It detaches you from all reality. It makes you all about yourself. We are going to break down the economics. We shouldn't have to, but there are people that vote Democrat. So with a larger audience out there, apparently we need to talk about the basic economic structure of how people earn money in the real world. We've got some clips of AOC because it wouldn't be a complete show without referencing, again, AOC's School of Economics. She is going to be an economics professor one day, and that is a frightening prospect for everybody here. Folks, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining the show. This WNBA strike, I think we just got to kick off with a clip right away where this story has it's now gone viral because Angel Reese, you might know her as basically the villain, the foil to Caitlin Clark, the only reason people tuned into the WNBA this past year. Caitlin Clark single-handedly made revenue go from, and my goodness, when we talk about revenue and losses and numbers, just buckle up for that. But Caitlin Clark's the reason that the WNBA is even getting talked about today. I think she tripled revenue. They went from like 50, 60 million a year to like $200 million. And no, that is not an impressive number. Stay tuned for that part. But Angel Reese is the bad guy in all this. She would go out of her way to poke her eyes, trip her up, body slam her. The only reason people tuned in, the only reason the league made money, Angel Reese made sure that because we had a white Christian girl that I think is straight, by the way. She's basically everything the WNBA is not. Atheist, black, lesbian. Caitlin Clark is white, straight, and Christian. And no, I don't really care about skin color, but these players do. The narratives do. And so Angel Reese tried to hurt the only moneymaker the league had, but sure, now she's serious about getting paid her fair share. She's never won anything outside of college. She won college basketball because if you're a tall person in college and you play women's sports, you're basically guaranteed at least the championship game, I would think. But Angel Reese here in the clip talks about why she needs to make more, why she works hard, she plays hard, she dribbles a basketball, she misses layups, she airballs three-pointers. The men don't do that, but she does play basketball nominally, and so because men play basketball and women play basketball and they play the same sport, that somehow that entitles her to more money. Now, to be clear, the WNBA is not generating revenue, it's not getting TV deals, it's not getting people in seats, it's not making money to pay these women more. What they would have to do, in effect, is steal money from the men, a la women's soccer, just like Megan Rapinoe was able to pull off, where they stole money from men, the men that generated the money, and then had to hand it off to the women. Angel Reese thinks that they're qualified to do the exact same deal. People tune in to the NBA for some reason. People have television rights. The league gets money from ESPN to the tunes of billions of dollars. And Angel Reese, because she's a woman and plays basketball, thinks that she's entitled to the TV rights deal money that the NBA makes because some people, at least still for some reason, like I said, watch the NBA. And I don't know if you saw the clip of LeBron James falling backwards when someone looked at him, but that's the NBA in a nutshell. I don't know why people watch that, but then I definitely don't know why people watch the WNBA. I could have done a highlights reel of all the fails, these spectacular fails. And look, guys, I've got two daughters. If they play basketball, I will go to the games. I will coach them the best that I can. I will root for them. I'll cheer for them. But that doesn't mean that they're as good as men. And I'm never going to lie to them and say, yes, sweetie, you are just as good as a man, just as capable as a man. LeBron James over there, he might be 6'10", 250 pounds, the most athletic man in the world. But sure, sweetie, you're 5'6", 100 pounds wet, and you can't dunk, you can't run as fast, you can't jump, you can't shoot a three-pointer. I'm not going to lie to them. I'll root for them. They're going to play at the best of their ability. I mean, the WNBA, they're playing at the best of their ability. These are the best women out there. Whatever, good for them. They're just not as good as men. I don't know why this is so controversial to say. Women can't play sports at the same level of men. Now, weak men can pretend to be women and play at a much higher level already. That shows you everything you need to know about how comparatively bad women are compared to men, because when a mediocre man can step into any forum, any athletic forum, they clean house. Will Thomas did that in swimming. You have seen Olympians pretend to be women in the boxing competitions. I honestly, folks, I am rooting for men to take over the WNBA. Short of the WNBA players striking themselves out of existence, I would love to see 5 dudes put on wigs. I think they made a movie about this years ago. It's just coming to the top of my head. What was it? Joanna Man? Maybe. But all you got to do is pretend to be a woman. What are they going to say? What is the woke WNBA, the woke NBA, the woke sports world now, the sports journalist world? What would they say about that? They don't really have an argument. Why can't 5 dudes retired from the NBA, college players, whatever, just make a mockery of women's sports, make a mockery of the transgender movement, and just say, we are women now. We are going to win every single game from now on and set every record, and you have to celebrate us. Like, I think that would be my first choice, to have fake trans women join the league and just make a mockery of it. Second best runner-up, though, would be America laughing as the WNBA strikes itself, like I said, out of existence. Want to welcome everybody to the show today. Just want to make a brief announcement. We are not on Facebook again. Facebook has our big audience. We always get some good chat and engagement from our Facebook audience. But I'm supporting Rumble. So I'm streaming to you live today from our Rumble studio, hosted out of my channel, The American Tribune Live with Todd Peterson. You can find this program on Spotify, Apple, on our main Rumble channel, The American Tribune. But I want to support Rumble. Supporting Rumble is more important to me than getting a larger audience, more engagement with our Facebook friends. We're trying to bring them over on our other podcast. But folks, this is the Rumble studio version of our podcast right now. So we're on Rumble, we're on Locals, we're on YouTube, we're on X. Basically, wherever you can stream from Rumble Studio. They still don't really sync up to Facebook. And honestly, I would rather just support Rumble, get out of our Rumble studio here for the show. But thank you for tuning in today. There are lots of options out there that you have. You can tune in to pretty much anybody you want nowadays. It's click your phone right there. But if you're choosing to watch the program today, I appreciate it. And we have had financial support in the past from viewers. I got some YouTube friends. I got Robert over on YouTube. We've got Kagan Girl, Paul Reese. We've got Fally over on our Rumble studio. So everybody else watching, thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for supporting Rumble as well. When you watch the program on Rumble, we support Rumble, you support Rumble. We need to create alternatives to Google's monopoly, YouTube's monopoly, and just the woke algorithms out there that hate everything that we have to say sometimes. I have had YouTube channels removed. I've had videos taken down. Rumble doesn't do that. And I'm not saying anything outrageous. Have I said one thing that's wrong today? Women can't play at the same level as men. Women don't deserve the same money as men when it comes to these athletic competitions if they don't bring in revenue. Tell me where I'm wrong. Please tell me where I'm wrong. But let's dive into it. We got some clips today. We've got Angel Reese making her case. And you tell me in the comments below if you're persuaded by this. Does her strike sound legitimate? Does her cause sound legitimate? You let me know. Let's take a listen.
We all did it.
Yeah, the CBA is coming up. I can't wait.
Girl, y'all benefited from everything. Y'all youngins benefited from NIL.
What does that mean? We deserve more.
We all did it.
Yeah, the CBA is coming up. I can't wait.
Girl, y'all benefited from everything. Y'all youngins benefited from NIL.
What does that mean? We deserve more.
Of course,
everybody.
I agree.
Everybody.
I agree with that.
But we got to get paid for consequences. Damn, we got to get it up.
Y'all got to
like
deal
y'all.
with something. Y'all got to do something.
But the women coming in, not this year, but next year, or because the ones coming in this year will still be on the rookie contract again. Mm-hmm. The ones the year after, they gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than us.
No, they are.
I'm hurt.
They are. Like, yeah. I've been in the meetings. They are.
I need to get in the. I need to get in the field.
You need to come to the
I
meeting.
gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sitting out.
That's a possibility for real.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm convinced. Are you convinced? Angel Reese makes a compelling argument right there. Did you not hear lay out all the bullet points, everything that she needs laid out so perfectly? She articulates her position so well. we need this. Y'all, we're going on strike if we don't get what we want. Y'all, I don't know. This just in, new contracts get negotiated. You willingly, folks, at some point here, we're going to start our economics rant for just a second. I think I want to start off with some clips, though. We just need to get to some clips, and then we'll lay out the economics. I'm going to do one AOC bit right here. This clip is also going viral right now. You might think, how are Angel Reese and the WNBA potential strike in the same universe as AOC? Well, let me tell you this right now. They both believe in the same model of economics, which is to say they have no real position other than they want more of your money. Here's AOC. Then we'll break down the WNBA's economics.
And I want you to understand, I want everyone to understand that tax cuts cost money. We have to pay for them. So every dollar that you spend in federal taxes is going to pay for some rich person's G-Wagon, and it's also going to cut in 8-year-old kids with autism's ability to access Medicaid. That's what they are putting on the table. That's what they're trying to make worse. And frankly, I don't care what party you are, we cannot stand for this.
Okay, folks, I needed a good laugh today. So if you listen closely, AOC's first claim, premise number one, is that tax cuts cost money. Well, I'll tell you this right now. Taxes cost money. They cost me my money. Tax cuts are me getting my money back that the federal government is not entitled to in the first place, but tax cuts cost money in AOC's lovely socialist communist world here. I am entitled to all of your money. I will do with it what I want. But then premise number two kind of contradicts the first point, because of course it does. If AOC could logically think through problems, she wouldn't be a Democrat, she wouldn't be a communist, she wouldn't be AOC. But because she's low IQ and brainwashed and a communist, again, nothing's going to make sense. That is just basically how it works for these people. When we do get your tax money, that goes to the wealthy people. That goes back to them in some form or another of their G-Wagon. Am I too out of touch to not know what a G-Wagon is, by the way? So tax cuts are bad. It costs us money. But those tax dollars, they don't even go to the right place anyways. They go to the wealthy. They never trickle down to the kid with autism on Medicare, because we have to emotionally blackmail you as much as possible. Please imagine this for a second. You better be hyperventilating as much as AOC is. If we dare take $1 from the federal government, that means some kid with autism won't qualify for the services he needs via Medicare. Now, I don't know about you, but these two things cannot be circled. You can't circle the squares. Either we have tax cuts and they cost money, or we have tax money and it goes to the wrong people. Like, pick a lane, AOC, pick a lane. But it's this kind of thinking that is so emblematic of everybody on the left. And when I say left, I think sometimes we have to make the distinction, like, yes, politically on the left, but your politics are derived from your values, your worldview, your underpinning philosophies on life. These are all just manifestations. Ultimately, your politics are a manifestation of your value system, and these women share the same value system, which is to say, I don't really believe in anything except myself and whatever talking point got through the focus group that one day, as Bongino says. I got a Bongino clip. I love that. I'm going to borrow that. I'm going to steal it. Everything you hear from them is a talking point. It's not a thought-through point. I think Michael Knowles said that, so I'm just going to steal from everybody today. It's just a talking point. It doesn't have to make sense. They just have to rattle things off and, again, emotionally blackmail you. They want you to think that because they're saying things really fast, that don't think about it too hard. It just makes sense. I'm making all these great points. Just believe me. I don't know, folks. Let me know in the comments below if you subscribe to the AOC School of Economics, where tax cuts cost us money. And yes, that is a good thing. I don't want the federal government to have any money, and I certainly don't want it redistributed. I want the wealthy to keep their money. I want to keep my money. What is a fair share? No one ever answers the question. What is the fair share? I am not a millionaire. I'm not a billionaire. I don't know if I'm super wealthy, but whatever money I have, I want to keep it. Is that fair? Is that fair to ask? Why is it greedy to want to keep your money, but it's not greedy to want to take someone else's money, to borrow a phrase from Thomas Sowell? Apparently, we're just quoting everybody today on the show. But folks, we need to dive into the WNBA numbers. You need to understand, Angel Reese needs to understand that to have any leverage in bargaining, you better be playing with a pretty strong hand. You better not have a 2-7 offsuit in the pocket and you see aces flop up and you know someone else is playing with, at the very least, high cards. Like Angel Reese is betting from the 2-7 offsuit, and she has no leverage, no position to bargain with. But you know what? She's entitled to money because, don't you know, she plays basketball and she deserves it. She deserves it. That's an economics argument. Yeah, Crowfields, I didn't stress this enough here. AOC majored in economics. Yes, that is correct. She got a an economics degree. I think it was Boston University. I hate to use the word prestigious for any university anymore. They're all woke. They all get government money. They all have really sweet tax deals with their endowments. There is no such thing as a prestigious university. Boston University cannot be considered prestigious. If it graduated AOC with a major in economics, I think she minored in something else too, somewhat related to that. But these people don't care. It's all about their belief system, their politics, their values. They honestly don't care what the numbers mean. They just need to steal your money. They want to get in power for themselves. But yeah, it is hilarious that AOC majored in economics. That's why I've been calling her the AOC School of Economics, because she is teaching something else that is the exact opposite of economics. And again, Democrats preach the opposite of everything. If it is good in the world, Democrats will side with evil. They're going to get mad that corruption is getting exposed. They're going to get mad that the border is getting closed. They're going to get mad that foreign wars are coming to an end. Peace is coming around the world. They're going to get mad when the bad guys go to jail. They're going to get mad when illegals murder someone and you point out the fact that that illegal shouldn't have been here. They're going to get mad when you say, no, you cannot groom kids. You can't chemically and physically castrate them. So everything with Democrats is upside down. No one's ever made a good case for why Donald Trump is a bad president other than the fact that orange man bad. It doesn't work that way, folks. But we got to get into the videos. Thanks for watching, Crow. Thanks for commenting here. Yes, she majored in economics. I don't know if that's more reflective of her stupidity or of Boston University as a whole. If you send your kid to Boston University, I'm curious. I don't know if my audience is large enough to be like, hey, if you go to this school and your kid's in that school, what are they learning in there? But if you know someone or you went to Boston University, I mean, I went to college. It's been a while, but it was woke before we had the term woke. It was woke before I was wise enough and old enough and had lived enough. You're just some stupid kid. You don't know any better. You don't really care. You're just in college having fun. But man, as I look back on my professors, you realize how little they taught you, how little they were interested in actually teaching you. And it was all about values and communism because these professors got tenure. They didn't care. They never lived in the real world. They went from being a student to a professor. You will always have stunted growth if you never leave academia, whether it's K-12, going on to college, whatever. It's all the same. Kindergarten, college, you are a child if you never leave that bubble. But folks, the WNBA numbers, I'm going to read this from Grok, and I trust Grok way more than I trust anything else at this point. It is one of the best AI features out there. And again, if it's wrong, correct me. I don't think it's wrong, though. I'm going to read the summary. I asked Grok, has the WNBA ever made money? Very simple question. Here's what it spit out. Based on available information, the WNBA has not turned a profit in its nearly 3-decade history since its founding in 1996. I am going to repeat this. In its 30 years, basically, the WNBA has been around for 28 years. In not a single year has the league ever been profitable. In other words, it loses money every single year. And that includes, I think Grok's going to talk about this in a second, that includes this last year where Caitlin Clark smashed every attendance record, television record. People tuned in. The league made more money than it ever had before, and yet they still lost money. Let's continue. Historically, the league has reported annual losses, with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver stating in 2018 that it lost an average of about $10 million per year. Let me do the math on that for you. We've been in existence for nearly 30 years. They've lost an average of $10 million per year. I think we're looking at what then? $300 million in total losses? This is one of the worst businesses ever. Any other business that lost $300 million, that reported a loss every single year, they would be out of business. They would not have made it 30 years. They would not have made it 3 years. Now, part of me is thinking, because I like to start businesses every couple of years, take some write-offs, take some losses on those new businesses. You're allowed, according to the IRS's own rules, 3 to 5 years to start turning a profit as a new business. I can only imagine the NBA loves this deal because look at all the write-offs that the NBA gets. The NBA makes a ton of money. It doesn't deserve to, but it does. But the WNBA is a sweet little write-off every year, wouldn't you say? More recent reports indicate that despite significant revenue growth, such as an estimated $200 million, okay, buckle up, $200 million it made in 2023, up from $102 million in 2019, the league continues to operate at a loss. For example, in 2024, projections suggested of losses around $40 to $50 million for the season, even amidst the surge in popularity driven by players like Caitlin Clark. I'm going to amend Grok there. Grok got it wrong. It wasn't players like Caitlin Clark. It was Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the only reason the WNBA made more money, had a larger audience, got more television viewers. It was only because of Caitlin Clark. And the WNBA and the Women's League kept her off the Olympic roster because they hate her. They hate money. But at least Angel Reese got to go to the Olympics, even though nobody would tune into the WNBA if she was the focal point, the star of the league. I cannot believe they left her off the Olympic team. However, the full financial picture is murky because the WNBA does not publicly disclose detailed profit and loss statements. Imagine my surprise. The WNBA doesn't report its profits and losses. Do you think they'd stay quiet if they turned a profit? I guarantee if they ever make money, which they never will, the WNBA will never be profitable on its own. But I can guarantee you if they were, they would publish that and we would all be celebrating it. Oh, look at what the women achieved. The women made a profitable basketball league. And we'd still be sitting here like, welcome aboard. The NBA has been profitable for like 60 years. Congratulations. Men's leagues have always made money. But sure, good job, WNBA. Here is, Grok's going to give them a little benefit of the doubt here. Some argue that the reported losses might be influenced by accounting practices common in sports leagues where expenses, like investments in marketing, infrastructure, charter flights, can outpace revenue, or losses are declared for strategic reasons, such as securing subsidies or negotiating lower player salaries. Okay. Revenue has undeniably increased, tripling from $60 million in 2022 to $200 million in 2023, according to some estimates, but it's unclear if this is translated into profitability after accounting for all costs. One more paragraph, folks. The WNBA's financial relationship with the NBA, which owns a significant stake, around 60%, and has historically subsidized the league. Yes, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA, that is fact. Critics and supporters alike note that the league's expenses, including recent investments like a $25 million annual charter flight program, might keep it in the red even as revenue rises. Now pause there for a second. You just heard that the league made $200 million up from $60 million. That's a difference of $140 million. And I'm reading this and it says, well, they just did a recent investment, like a $25 million annual charter flight program. That still leaves $115 million in net increase, and they lost money. Where is this money going? Without transparent financial data, it's impossible to definitively confirm a profitable year. Grok, no, they just have not made a profit. But Grok is trying to, give them again the benefit of the doubt. Thus, while the WNBA has generated substantial revenue, evidence suggests it has not yet made money in the sense of achieving a net profit. In other words, it has simply not made money. Folks, this is wild. This is absolutely wild. A league that has been around for 30 years, you could be a 30-year-old kid, or you're not even a kid anymore, a 30-year-old adult. You have not known the United States without the WNBA. From the moment you were born, you had Cheryl Swoops over there, Leslie, what was her name? Leslie... I'm drawing a blank. The tall lady that played on the Los Angeles team. This is going to bother me. But you had these gals, and then you've grown up every single year. You read the sports page. You got the stupid box score for the WNBA. And now you're 30. The league's always been there. You've always known it's existed. And yet this league has never turned a profit. In what other world does something that's been around for 30 years, again, never making a profit, brand recognition, general public awareness, we all know the WNBA exists. Do you know what this means? It means people don't want the product. They are just not interested in watching a substandard performance. If I want to watch basketball and I'm not these girls' father, I am watching the NBA. That's all this comes down to. This is not sexist. This is, we'll get into the equal pay stuff in just a second. What this says, though, is that if you have a choice between the WNBA and the NBA, and your number one interest is getting entertained by athletics, you're going to watch the NBA every single time because it is better. It's a better, well, and I hate to say better because it is sloppy. It's ridiculous. They are all floppers out there. There's no team ball anymore. It is all street ball. It is not my brand of basketball. But that being said, lots of people just want to watch highlights. They want to watch dunks. They want to see threes. They want to see alley-oops. They want to see dudes with muscle running fast and throwing people around. They want to see athleticism. They just want to see athleticism. You would never choose the WNBA if you had any interest in watching competitive sports. Women are just not as good as men when it comes to that. Women are good at other things. And folks, I actually deleted the clip here. I wish I would have kept it. As you get into Angel Reese's argument, which she was more making the claim like, well, rookies are going to get paid more than me. Yes, that's how that works. I have a book from when I was a kid. It was celebrating Roger Clemens getting paid $5 million, the highest salary of all time, highest annual salary. Roger Clemens, I think he signed a contract in like 1992, 1993 got paid $5 million per year. Fast forward to today, I think we just saw some dude in New York sign a contract for like $800 million. He's going to get paid like $80 million per year. This is what happens. We get more ad revenue from television rights. You get more expensive tickets to go to the stadium. Every year it gets more expensive. Every year that translates to more and higher salaries. This is just how it works. So, Angel, yes, the rookies might get paid more than you. There are new contracts to negotiate. You weren't complaining a year or 2 or 3 years ago whenever you came into the league. You signed that contract. You were happy about the contract. Yeah, you can wish you had more money. Then guess what? Perform at a higher level and take the max revenue. Sign a new contract. You can do that. But she's going to drag this whole league down, and I'm hoping she does. I am hoping so bad that the WNBA players go on strike to demand more money essentially from men, because it's not coming from their own coffers. The WNBA has never turned a profit. And again, it never will, because nobody wants to watch their brand of basketball. If I wanted to watch missed layups, airball passes, airball three-pointers, just trying to catch a ball, dribbling off their feet, I would go watch my 10-year-old niece play basketball. The same level that they perform at is basically the WNBA in bigger bodies. And again, I'm going to say it again. I have 2 daughters. I only have girls. I will cheer for them. I will support them. I'll drive them every game. I will coach every game. I will love them for what they are able to do. They're just not as good as the boys. They will never be as good as the men. There's no way around it, folks. But Angel Reese wants to make the claim, though. This is the larger part of the argument now. This is where the conversation has turned. That because they dribble a ball, because they pass a ball, shoot a ball, wear a jersey, that they're entitled to the same pay as the men. And this is the exact same claim that the soccer players made and egregiously won. It only took one woke activist judge to be like, yes, you play soccer, they play soccer, you deserve equal pay for equal work. Hey guys, we are back. Holy smokes, this is what happens when you have a sick kid at home and people replacing your busted furnace. Somehow we made it through the winter. It's like 60 degrees today in Minnesota. It's been 60 degrees. But new furnace time, new air conditioning unit. But man, folks, I apologize here. Live show, this is apparently what happens. Holding down the fort with sick kiddo, with people working on your house. Thanks for hanging in there here. Crow Fields writes, I went to one WNBA game, never again. Crow, that reminds me, and folks, thanks for sticking around here. You stared at a blank screen for a while. I went to one WNBA game as well. I took a girl on a date to one. I never wanted to go to one, but it is incredible what guys are willing to do. I actually sat through an entire WNBA game simply to be with a girl. That's it. I didn't want to go. I had no interest in going, but she wanted to go. And you know what, as a guy, I regret saying that I was willing to do that. Never again. I will never go to a WNBA game ever again. But the equal pay for equal work argument, that is where we're landing on today. I'm going to play some clips from Megan Rapinoe because, boy, this really brings us into the fold of what we're talking about today. Flashback to a couple years ago. They're wearing masks because, of course, they are. Megan Rapinoe is going to make the case why she deserves more money, why her hardworking women's team deserves the same amount of money. This just has not aged well. I was outraged at the time. I'm even more outraged today in hindsight. I cannot believe that this argument passed muster. I cannot believe that a single person believes this tripe, but here we go.
I'm a member of the LGBTQ community with pink hair, and where I come from, I could have only dreamed that I would be standing in the position I am today at the White House. I'm also a professional athlete, and I've helped, along with all of my teammates virtually here today, one teammate literally here today, win 4 World Cup championships and 4 Olympic gold medals for the United States. And despite those wins, I've been devalued, I've been disrespected, and dismissed because I am a woman. And I've been told that I don't deserve any more than less because I am a woman. You see, despite all the wins, I'm still paid less than men who do the same job that I do. For each trophy, of which there are many, and for each win, for each tie, and for each time that we play, it's less. And I know there are millions of people who are marginalized by gender in the world and experience the same thing in their jobs. And I know that there are people who experience even more, where the layers of discrimination continue to stack against them. And I and my teammates are here for them. We on the U.S. Women's National Team today are here because of them.
All right, folks. Number one, if you have to lead off your remarks by announcing that you sleep with other women and have pink hair, you've already lost the plot. I know everything else you say after that is going to be meaningless. It's going to be a lie. It's going to be gibberish. Nobody cares. This is not about you being a lesbian. This is not about having you pink hair because you just seek and crave attention so much. But then she makes the point. And again, this is all emotional blackmail. Let me lay out the case for you, America. This is why it's so important. Someone like me, part of a marginalized, oppressed community, I go to work every day for all the wins, all the trophies, all the Olympic medals, all the competitions, all the ties even. Every time we play, I get paid less than men. Yep, you sure do, because you don't generate the same revenue as men. The fact that a judge agreed with them, I'll never get over it, folks. We need to completely redo the judicial system. But the fact that people think this way, Megan Rapinoe, Angel Reese, AOC, says that we have a lot of work to do. No, Megan Rapinoe, you're not entitled to the same pay as men because the pay itself comes from how much revenue a league or an entity brings in. Why don't I demand more money? I own my own business. I own a business with 4 other people. The American Tribune, we got lots of different properties. Part of that is the podcast here. We do a couple podcasts. We got a Substack. We got 2 websites. We got Facebook pages, X accounts, Rumble accounts, YouTube channels. We got everything. We got email lists. If I just said one day, you know what? I want to make $1 million because somewhere out there is an independent small business owner doing exactly what I do, and he makes $1 million. Shoot, the Daily Wire, for example, they run a website. They do podcasts. They have email lists. They produce content. Those guys make way more than $1 million. Am I entitled to that? Where's it going to come from? Maybe the Daily Wire should subsidize me. I should get paid the same as Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro because I have a podcast just like them. I would be laughed at for suggesting that. The Daily Wire would laugh at me. Americans would laugh at me. Actually, Megan Rapinoe would laugh at me. If I said, Megan, based on your logic, your argument, the premise you're laying out, would it be fair for me to go to Matt Walsh and say, Matt Walsh, I do the same work. I'm entitled to the same pay. Daily Wire, you need to cut me a check immediately. This is not a thing. She would say absolutely not. But now she's going to make the case that because the men, again, it had to be sexist, because the men kick a ball too, and they haven't even won Olympic medals, never mind the fact that the men's competition is much stiffer and nobody plays soccer in America. Never mind the fact that they make more money in their league. Never mind the fact that the men are better. More people are entertained by watching men's soccer than women's soccer. She's entitled to their money. But like I said, if I went to the Daily Wire, she would laugh at me for thinking that I'm entitled to their money. And Charlie Kirk has made a great point. I wish I would have kept the clip on my podcast here. I played this a couple weeks ago. Might have been last Tuesday, actually. Charlie Kirk was making the argument in front of women, and he said, all right, women, you guys are OnlyFans content creators. I mean, shame on you. But you're making tons of money on OnlyFans, And you got some dudes over there that make like $1 a week. So should the women have to give up half of their money for men? It's equal work, right? You got a dude stripping down and jerking off on camera. You got women getting naked and jerking off on camera. It's the same work. Should those women have to give up all of their earnings that, again, I don't know why anyone's paying them money, but they make a lot of money doing it apparently. Should those women have to share their revenue with the men, with those content creators? All of the content creators on OnlyFans are entitled to the same amount of money. It's an incredible clip because the women on there know exactly what he's asking. They can read between the lines. They know what he's saying. He's getting into the equal work, equal pay argument, but now suddenly women are benefiting on top of this hierarchy. And again, it's a justified hierarchy. If you have a different skill set or people are drawn to you with different interests, you make more money, you're entitled to keep that money. This is not a hard concept. But the women know if they answer that question the way that they should, they have just blown up their entire argument for this nonsensical equal work, equal pay. So they're out there, they're saying, no, I'm not really going to answer that. I know, no, it's not the same thing. I think they're suffering strokes live on television when that clip gets played. But it's all the same thing. Like, tell me this. If you're a woman OnlyFans content creator, why are you entitled to keep all of that money? If you're the Daily Wire podcasting crew, and I do a podcast too, why are you entitled to keep all your money? And then somehow, Megan Rapinoe, because she plays soccer too, she's entitled to the men's money. Like, in only one of those situations has that actually panned out. OnlyFans content creators get to keep their money. Daily Wire podcast crew gets to keep their money. They're not going to share with me. Men's soccer team, NBA players get to keep their money. This is not a hard concept, and yet people are buying into the emotional blackmail. Oh, these poor women. You're right. It's such a sexist society. But then I would ask you this, and Bill Burr says it so much more hilariously than I'm going to right here. You've got, I think he was performing at the Red Rocks in Colorado. He was doing some hilarious bit out there. I think this was the last time Bill Burr might have been funny. And then he got TDS, or his wife made him get TDS, or turns out Bill Burr was just never funny and always a child, but he had some good moments. But he made the case like, ladies, we gave you a league. If you want the women to get paid more, then you go watch the effing games. Where are all the feminists when it comes to the WNBA? If you look around and you go to WNBA game, it was dudes like me trying to get in some girls' pants. It was not these Megan Rapinoe types, pink hair, overweight cat ladies, going, yes, women's basketball, we love it. No, guess what? Those women are also watching the NBA. If the WNBA can blame anybody for not watching, it's women. Half of this country could be watching the WNBA every night, but they're not because they're not interested in the product. Blame women for this. You got to watch the Bill Burr clip. It's hilarious. I'm not making this funny at all. Not that it needs to be funny. It's just the point that gets made is like, where are the feminists when it comes to the WNBA? They're not watching games. They're not turning on their TV to watch those games. It's pretty obvious why the league is floundering because nobody wants to watch them. Certainly not me. I don't watch the NBA, but if I had to choose a basketball game, it would definitely be that over the WNBA. And even women don't want to watch the product. But sure, equal work for equal pay. So we got to talk about this too. I'm going to break down, we're talking about Rapinoe. I'm going to keep on the FIFA stuff for a second, just so you understand how ludicrous all of Rapinoe's arguments were. And I got one more Rapinoe clip for you as well. Here's a breakdown from some FIFA numbers, some World Cup numbers. Your head will explode when you realize that the women got to steal all of this money. Straight up theft. For the 2022 FIFA Men's World Cup in Qatar, FIFA reported total revenues of approximately $7.5 billion. That's right, $7.5 billion. That was the men's side of the tournament. Hang on to that number. With the majority tied to the men's tournament through broadcasting rights, marketing, and ticket sales. The prize pool for the tournament was $440 million distributed among the 32 participating teams. However, revenue figures often encompass a broader cycle of FIFA events, making it challenging to isolate the Men's World Cup alone, though estimates suggest it generated around $6 billion. Okay, so the FIFA World Cup in 2022, they're estimating it made about $6 billion, of which $440 million made its way down to the players on the men's teams. Fast forward to 2023, that's when the Women's World Cup was hosted in Australia and New Zealand, and the tournament generated, listen to this, $570 million in revenue. Now, Grok is celebrating the fact that that's a significant increase, but let me just make this case right here. Men, $6 billion. Women, $570 million, maybe. That doesn't include all the other things that FIFA is doing throughout the World Cup cycles. But let's go with that. The men generated more than 10 times the amount of revenue that the women did. 10 times. In other words, the men should be paid 10 times more, but it gets worse. It's already worse. Take a listen to this. For the women, the prize pool for the event was $110 million. In other words, men generated 10 times what the women did, and yet their prize pool was only 4 times higher. Do you know who's getting discriminated against here? It is the men. If the women are allowed $110 million, that means the men should be making $1 billion to split. In a fair world, it would be if your revenue is 10 times greater, your payout is 10 times greater. So the men were getting discriminated against here. Don't talk about that. Every man is a toxic masculinity. Men run the world. Women are oppressed. So no, we're only going to pay them 4 times the amount, even though they generated 10 times the amount of revenue. But then, not only should the men be making 10 times more, not only did they generate 10 times revenue, Megan Rapinoe and company stole all of it. Do you realize that now in the World Cup, women and men will share the prize pools? Women will get paid the same as men for not bringing in nearly the same level of revenue. This is straight up theft. This is income redistribution. This is communism in the private sector. Profields writes again, equity of outcomes means everyone gets the same income. Marxism, capitalism means merit and profit rules. I don't know why this is so complicated. I don't know why we're debating this. The fact that I'm doing a show today, I was really fired up about the WNBA because I wanted to talk about Rapinoe again. I wanted to talk about the figures here in the WNBA. I needed everyone to understand that the WNBA has never made money. Women's soccer never made nearly as much money as men. And yet these clowns, these communist clowns, low IQ, ignorant fools that they are, they demanded equal pay for, quote, equal work. And you can't even call it equal work. The amount of, let's say, physical exertion done by women and men, not the same. Equal work in terms of who's watching it, that's not the same. Do you want to talk about work outcomes? 10 times the amount of revenue generated by men because people watch it more. People are more excited to watch it. They go to the games. They watch it on TV. So no, it is not even equal work. You can't even make that claim. Aside from you putting on a jersey, or kit, excuse me, it's a kit for our British folks out there, going on the pitch, kicking a ball around, nothing you do is the same. But they actually won their argument. The women's soccer team will steal all of that money from men. Just straight up steal it. I got one more Rapinoe clip, though. You got to listen to this interviewer's question as well. This is the other claim that they're making, and I can't wait to talk about it. But here's the other Rapinoe clip I got for you.
We're so much more ready for it. I feel like it was so much more than soccer this time. It was so much more than what we did on the field. It was everything off the field. It was what this movement is about. Not only just equal pay, but just sort of like women in general being valued, being appreciated, being respected in the way that we should. I'm so excited for what's to come, not only for myself, but all the people on the team and for the sport. I just feel like this is one of those incredible moments that are very rare in history.
What is it that you're hoping people take away from all of this, more than just the victory? You were talking about this movement that's happening. Do you think this will actually help push it a little bit further? I mean, a men's team hasn't been able to accomplish this before.
I do think it will push it forward. I think that we've proved that the conversation needs to not be about, are we worth it, or equal pay, or, revenue or TV viewership or whatever. We have all of that. We've literally checked every single box. We're right there, obviously with the men, and in some cases higher. And I think it's now time to move forward to how do we bring the women's game to the next level? What do we need?
Just straight up lying to you. Folks, I read you the numbers. More people watch the men's leagues. More people are willing to pay more money to watch the men's leagues, whether that is men's soccer in the World Cup, whether that is the NBA. Television rights basically say all of it. They are making the case for me. There is more money to watch men's sports. End of discussion. Megan Rapinoe, when she's out there saying, look, we've checked all the boxes. People watch us on TV. People go to the games. People buy our merch. Yes, they do, but not at the same level as men. Completely disingenuous argument here. She is openly lying. I know all these clowns are stupid. The fact that they are who they are proves to me they're already stupid. But it's the disingenuity here. No, you aren't checking the boxes. And even if you are, you're not checking the same box as men. It is really that simple. There is more money generated by male sports than women's sports. And no matter how you slice and dice these numbers, it never comes out to be the same. But didn't you love the reporter's question? Like, well, even the men have never won a World Cup. Look at you, Megan Rapinoe. You're so fantastic. Of course you deserve more money. You won a World Cup. I'm sorry, folks. Did you see the Japanese national team? Do you want to say that you actually earned a victory? Do you want to watch any women's national team? Women don't even have rights in half the countries around the world, and they're out there competing in soccer. Meanwhile, the men are going up against the best athletes in the world. When soccer is your number one sport in every other country around the world, you think that they're going to make some pretty good soccer players? Like, this is not an apples to apples conversation. I hate all of it. I hate it all so much. I especially hate the condescension towards men. Like, I'm out here arguing, like, sorry, women, you don't get the same amount of money because you don't generate the same level of excitement and interest and revenue. It's not that I don't like women. It's just this is a fact. But when it comes to them going after men, there is no such, like, just factual based level playing field. It's like, we hate men. Men have never won a World Cup. They suck. You deserve all of their money because you're a winner. Do you notice the difference in tone and approach? This is not an anti-woman screed to say Angel Reese, Megan Rapinoe don't deserve the same amount of money. This is an economics lesson. This is saying your leagues are not profitable. And in the case of WNBA, you guys don't even make money. In the case of women's soccer, you make 1/10 of what the men do. I'm not anti-woman. Like I said, I got 2 daughters. I shouldn't even have to qualify these statements. I am pointing out the fact that these leagues, entities, organizations don't make money the way that men do. That's all it is. And look at the OnlyFans example. I'm not saying that the men deserve half of what the women creators get. I mean, according to Megan Rapinoe, they should. Can you imagine Megan Rapinoe out there fighting for equal pay for men when it comes to OnlyFans content creations? She would laugh at you. When I say, Megan, do you think you can help me go talk to the Daily Wire and get some podcast money from Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro and Michael Knowles? She would laugh at me. But Megan, equal work. I'm out here on a live stream for an hour every day. Doesn't that count for something? She would laugh at you. Honestly, she wouldn't even answer the question. I know she's dumb, but I don't think she's that dumb. She would look at me. The wheels would turn ever so slightly, and she'd be like, I see where he's going with this. I am not going to engage because that's a real conversation, and I can't bust my narrative that I've convinced myself of. Absolutely delusional, folks. These women don't deserve a dime from the men. But I'm going to say it again. I am rooting for these players to strike themselves out of existence. That's where I'm at this point. Sorry for all the women out there that just want to shoot a ball and make some money. Caitlin Clark, she seems like a good person, although she totally dropped the ball, pun intended, when it came to being like, yeah, there's racism in the league. You know, if I were not white, then it would, like, no, Caitlin Clark, you're just good at basketball and you're not an asshole. Like, that's all people wanted to see. They just wanted to see someone talented perform, keep their mouth shut. And then she opened her mouth. She drank the Kool-Aid. So I guarantee the WNBA's numbers are only going to go down. They peaked. They peaked at Caitlin Clark when we didn't know who she was. Now it turns out she's a spineless coward. So good luck, WNBA. You ruined your only cash cow. You guys don't deserve to be in existence. Okay, we got to play a Bongino clip. It wouldn't be an economics discussion without a little bit of Kamala reference as well. We've talked about AOC, we talked about Angel Reese, talked about Megan Rapinoe. They have zero idea how the real world works. And I take that back. I think they do. They just don't care because they just want more money for themselves. They want more power for themselves. It's not about truth. It's not about integrity. It's not about honesty. It's not about fairness. It's about them. These are all psychopathic narcissists, which if you are a Democrat voter, you are that by definition. But take a listen to Dan Bongino lay out a case for Kamala Harris now.
This is a perfect example of the Kamala vacuum. She's asked a very serious question about the economy, and I want you to listen to the answer. How it's nothing but ridiculous focus group tested talking points that mean absolutely nothing. If there was even a shred of follow-up, she would have collapsed. Watch this.
Expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share.
Folks, this woman is so empty, vapid, and absolutely full of shit. It's stunning that even the MSNBC host lets this go. What is the obvious follow-up to that question? Anybody know?
You in the chat know. You're listening on Apple or Spotify. You know the answer. What's the freaking fair share? This is all Democrats say. What is the fair share?
What is the fair share? They can never answer the question. You know what their answer would be? Honestly, they would say 100%. I don't think you're entitled to any of your own money. That's where we are headed at this point. But when it comes to fair share for the WNBA, Angel Reese, you should be thanking the men every single day that you are allowed to play basketball for a living. Without men subsidizing you, you would not have a job in the WNBA. You should be saying thank you to the men, not whining about not getting paid enough as the rookies, or certainly not getting paid enough as the men. But she won't, because she's an ingrate. Megan Rapinoe, do you know what your fair share is? 1/10 of the men. That would be a fair share. But it wasn't good enough when you got 25%. Just let that sink in, folks. She was not happy with 25% when her league made 1/10 of the men. Should have been 10%. It was already 25%, but that wasn't good enough. She wanted 50%. She wanted exactly what the men were getting. I just can't. I just can't, folks. I got to read these numbers here. I pulled this up during the clip. This is even worse. Somehow it gets worse. If Angel Reese is going to go down the path of I deserve the same pay for the same work, it was bad with FIFA and the World Cup, where men generated 10 times as much money. Buckle up for this number. This is absolutely wild. I'm just going to read again from Grok here. I'll read the whole thing. This is all illuminating. The NBA's annual revenue varies from year to year, but based on the most recent data available, it has been consistently exceeding $10 billion per year. Now, a lot of this is driven by TV deals that they've just made worth $76 billion over 11 years with partners like ESPN, NBC, Amazon for 2025. There is so much stupid money flowing into the NBA right now. I think these are all losing propositions, because as more money goes in the NBA and these TV deals, I think the NBA is losing interest. I could be wrong about that. Maybe they don't even care about the American audience. I think the Chinese market, with they're like 4 times bigger than the entire United States is. They love their NBA stuff. So the NBA is probably going to be okay. But folks, $10 billion. Let's just, nice round number. We'll use that for the math. $10 billion. Do you remember what the WNBA makes? Negative $10 million. Do you want to talk about fair share in salaries? When the World Cup was absurd, it was like $6 billion to $600 million. So we're dealing with 10 times. The NBA makes $10 billion annually, and the women's side makes negative money every year. They lose money every year. And she's out there saying, I deserve more money. As ludicrous as Megan Rapinoe's argument was, this is somehow even more insane. You're looking at a league that makes $10 billion a year, subsidizes your very existence, writes you a paycheck every year, and you're going to complain that it's not enough. My head is exploding from all of the stupidity. I cannot believe that this woman can put pants on in the morning. And no wonder she can't dribble a basketball or make a layup. That's too much to ask for. That is asking for too much coordination, too much eye-hand. Absolutely astounding figures right there, folks. $10 billion a year that the NBA makes. The WNBA loses $10 million every year. I don't have a calculator in front of me, but if the men make X amount of dollars, it turns out the women deserve to make. They should probably be writing a check. If the WNBA players wanted fairness, they would be paying the league to even be allowed to go suit up every game. That's how awful this league is. That's how much money they lose every year. This is just wild, wild stuff. All right, I got one more clip here, folks. I think we've beaten this dead horse. TLDR, if you're just tuning in, folks, the WNBA deserves to go out of business. They should be striking themselves out of existence anytime soon. I cannot wait for it, and America is laughing at them. They are laughing the entire time. Negative $10 million per year in revenues, NBA $10 billion a year, and they have the gall to say, we need more money. Absolutely astounding stuff. I'm going to finish with this clip. Really no rhyme or reason, but we're talking economics. How do you talk about economics without bringing up AOC one more time? This one was a new one for me. Did you know that the debate over economics in America is also connected to abortion?
And I think briefly, I'd like to address some of the prior claims that, several prior immediate claims, one being that abortion is not an economic issue and that we should be focused on economic issues. And I also, I think it's important to state that that abortion is an economic issue. Forcing poor and working class people to give birth against their will, against their consent, against their ability to provide for themselves or a child is a profound economic issue, and it's certainly a way to keep a workforce basically conscripted to large-scale employers and to employers to work more against their will, to take second and third jobs against their desire and their own autonomy. And so the idea that that abortion and access to abortion is somehow not a profound and central economic and class issue and class struggle is certainly something that I think a person who's never had to contend with the ability to carry a child, it belies that perspective. And it's disappointing to see. But secondly, I think another thing that I'd like to address is that the same folks.
All right, I won't do that to you, folks. I won't subject you to AOC's rambling insanity anymore. But, yep, it's an important issue to talk about abortion rights, the ability to murder your own child because of women's economic independence. Honestly, I thought she was so close. She is so close to realizing that feminism is a huge lie. My wife talks about this. People in my wife's generation, they were lied to so bad. Her parents, to be a strong, fully developed, realized woman, you need to reject men, reject good men in relationships, go get a job, forget having kids, don't have kids, go grind it out in the job market, and that'll be really fulfilling. Like, she was almost there. I honestly thought she was going to turn a page. I mean, I knew she wouldn't. I'm saying that facetiously. But yes, AOC, it turns out women don't want to work. It turns out they are slave labor, wage slaves for the corporate meat grinder. That's all it is. They want women to get abortions so that those women are freed up to go work for them. They wanted to pull women out of the home where they are happy and content raising kids, having a family. They didn't want women to be part of a nuclear family where the man took care of them and she was responsible for the kids in the home. They hated that, so they blew it all up. And then AOC is out here saying, but don't you know that the corporations just want women to work for them? It's like, yes, I do. That's why I hate feminism. That's why I hate the message that feminism has been given to women all of these decades now. You don't need a job to be fulfilled. If you want to get a job, that's fine, but just understand you will be most happy in a home with a good man, raising a large family. Again, why are we debating all this? But AOC, she was so close, so close. All right, folks, and with that being said, I'm maxed out on Angel Reese's stupidity, Megan Rapinoe's stupidity. God only knows I'm maxed out on AOC's stupidity. I'm glad we snuck in a little Kamala Harris as well for you today. But that's going to do it for us here. Coming up on the hour for the American Tribune Live with Todd Peterson. Again, apologies. How long was I gone? A minute, 2 minutes? You got to stare at my background for a little bit here. Thanks for being flexible with life on the other side of the camera here. Sick kid at home. Furnace guys needed to get access to the breaker box, and for some reason I didn't have that set up ahead of time. So it is what it is. But thank you for tuning in. Thanks for your support. Thanks for choosing this program, especially Crowfields blowing up our comment section today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting, Crowfields. And folks, with that, we are here again on Thursday, this upcoming Thursday, 9:30 a.m. Central. Still feels like 8:30. I don't know about you. I am ready to abolish daylight saving times once and for all. I hate this. No matter what time you wake up, you're still groggy because your body is like, it is not 9:30 right now. I shouldn't be doing a show. I should be having a cup of coffee on the couch at 8:30. But the show goes on. It is what it is. But folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you again on Thursday.
Starting on day one, we'll implement a rapid series of bold reforms to restore our nation to full prosperity. We're going to go full prosperity and to build the greatest economy the world has ever seen, just as we had just a short time ago. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Great again. Great again.